You do not suffer because you lack a woman. You suffer because you have unconsciously made a woman into psychological oxygen. A woman is no longer simply a human being in your mind. She has become relief, validation, proof of worth, emotional anesthesia, escape from loneliness, proof that your life matters, proof that you are chosen. In other words, she is no longer companionship. She is oxygen, and oxygen is not desired. Oxygen is needed to survive. That changes everything psychologically. Because now, if a woman likes you, you feel alive. If she ignores you, you feel diminished. If you see couples, you feel deprived. If you are alone, you feel psychologically unsafe. That is what psychological oxygen means. The mind has secretly concluded, without this, I cannot fully live. Look carefully at your chest tightens when you say couples. Why is the reaction so strong? Because the nervous system is interpreting the images, something essential for survival is missing. Not physically, psychologically. That is why it hurts so deeply. I would say the suffering is not from absence, it is from dependence. A starving man does not admire food, he clings to it. Similarly, when a person feels inwardly incomplete, they do not approach relationships freely, they approach them as rescue. And the dangerous part is this: the mind disguises dependency as love. But dependency says, without you, I collapse. Love says, I enjoy your presence, but my existence is not built upon it. Most people never discover the difference, so they spend years trying to obtain girlfriends, marriage, attention, sex, validation, thinking, then I will finally relax. But the moment one dependency is fulfilled, the mind creates another: fear of losing her, fear of cheating, fear of not being enough, fear of abandonment, fear of comparison. Because the root problem was never the absence of a woman. The root problem was, I do not feel whole within myself. So understand this deeply. The mind has fused together love, identity, self worth, social status, emotional security, and now every romantic image activates all of them at once. That is why the nervous system explodes. You are not merely seeing two people, you are seeing a life I believe will finally save me from myself. That is the hidden psychology. And the strange thing is, the moment a man stops needing a woman as psychological oxygen, he becomes far more capable of genuine connection. Because now he is no longer trying to consume another human being for emotional survival. Now there is space for clarity, affection, playfulness, intimacy, respect, freedom. Then love becomes human, not medicinal. Stop worshipping the image. You are seeing the cinematic surface of relationships. You are not seeing their confusion, boredom, emotional dependency, fights, emptiness, resentment, fear, compromises. The mind edits reality. It sees they have what I need. No, they have their own human struggle. What you see outside is not reality. It is edited reality. A 2-second movie clip. A two people walking together, holding hands, laughing, taking photos, sitting in a cafe. And the mind instantly creates a fantasy universe around it. They are fulfilled. They are emotionally secure. They have something I lack. Life is happening for them. But you are not seeing their life. You are seeing a frame, a surface, a trailer. You are seeing what human beings choose to display, not what they silently carry. I would say, human beings are experts at decorating their prison cells. A relationship can look beautiful externally while internally containing dependency, fear, loneliness, manipulation, exhaustion, emotional hunger, routine, silent resentment. But the lonely mind cannot see this because loneliness edits perception. When a starving man walks past a restaurant, he does not analyze the emotional health of the people inside, he only sees food. Similarly, when a person is psychologically starving, he cannot see relationships clearly, he only sees relief, completion, escape from myself. So the mind converts another human being into salvation. That is the distortion. And this is why people enter relationships and become shocked later. Because they were not relating to reality, they were relating to imagination. They were in love with the image, the fantasy, the emotional medicine, not the actual human being. Now understand this line deeply. A relationship entered from fullness, feels beautiful. A relationship entered from psychological starvation feels like survival. This is one of the great dividing lines in human life. When you enter from fullness, you enjoy, you appreciate, you connect, you share, you remain emotionally spacious. The relationship becomes an addition to life, not a replacement for life. You can love deeply without collapsing psychologically. Why? Because your inner state is not hanging by a thread. You are not secretly saying, please save me from loneliness. Please make me feel worthy. Please remove my emptiness. Please become the meaning of my existence. But psychological starvation is different. Psychological starvation says, I cannot bear my inner world alone. Now the relationship becomes a survival, and survival creates strange behaviors: overthinking, jealousy, obsession, constant texting, emotional dependency, fear of abandonment, anxiety when they pull away, emotional collapse after small conflicts. Why? Because the nervous system is not protecting love, it is protecting oxygen. That is why people panic, not because they lost the relationship, but because they lost the thing carrying their psychological stability. So the suffering becomes enormous. Most modern relationships are not built on love, they are built on mutual psychological outsourcing. One person says, distract me from myself. The other says, distract me from myself too. And both call it romance. This is why many people cannot sit alone quietly. The silence reveals the dependency. Look carefully at society: endless texting, constant need for attention, panic after delayed replies, obsession with validation, inability to be alone. Relationships used as status symbols. This is not love. This is emotional survival architecture. And yet, society glorifies it. So, a lonely person assumes, if I enter this world, I will finally feel complete. But completeness borrowed from another human being is unstable by nature, because now your emotional weather depends on their mood, their attention, their approval, their consistency, their presence. You become psychologically fragile. This does not mean relationships are meaningless. It means a relationship becomes beautiful only when it is no longer being used as anesthesia. Then two people can actually meet without consumption, without desperation, without trying to extract identity from one another. Then love stops being complete me and becomes I enjoy walking through life with you. That is entirely different. So listen, the deepest loneliness is not the absence of a relationship. It is the inability to sit peacefully within your own existence. So the mind searches desperately for someone to remove the weight of itself. And when it sees couples, it imagines they escaped, they found completion, they found the answer. But human beings do not escape themselves through relationships. They bring themselves into relationships. Their fears enter, their wounds enter, their emptiness enters, their dependency enters, their confusion enters. A relationship does not magically remove inner instability, it often magnifies it. This is why a person who feels inwardly fractured alone will usually feel fractured together too. Only now the fracture becomes entangled with another human being. So the real work is not how do I get love? The deeper work is, can I stop using another human being as psychological rescue? Because the moment love becomes rescue, fear is born. Fear of losing, fear of rejection, fear of comparison, fear of abandonment, and where fear dominates, love suffocates. The irony is, the more a person desperately needs love, the harder it becomes to experience genuine love. Because desperation consumes, it clings, it extracts, it turns affection into survival. But when a man slowly builds inner steadiness, direction, physical vitality, meaningful work, emotional resilience, self respect, peace and solitude, then relationships stop feeling like oxygen and start feeling like companionship. Then he no longer looks at couples with pain. He simply sees two human beings trying to navigate life together with all the beauty and difficulty that comes with being human. That vision is far closer to truth than fantasy ever was.